For 17 years, she stood alone in the lower level of an old barn, past weeds no one had bothered to cut back. By the time I heard about her, all I knew was that somewhere in that darkness was a gentle, aging mare, and no one imagining her story would guess how quiet her final chapter would become. By the time I brought her home, she was 29 years old. Her owner had once kept a small herd, but one by one they had died or been sold until she was the last horse standing in that barn. He could no longer walk out to her stall. He could only send food down a narrow chute and hope it landed close enough for her to reach. For at least 10 years, she had not touched noses with another horse. She had not felt a hand on her neck. She had simply waited, in the dark, in the quiet, for a world that stopped coming to see her.
Here it is. When she came off the trailer.
When I heard about her through friends at Rosemary Farm Sanctuary, I didn't hesitate. The weeds around the barn had to be cleared just to bring her out into daylight. Nobody knew what waited on the other side of that overgrowth, not even me.
Locked and loaded, ready to go. With her hay net. Linkage.
Then the trailer door opened. She stepped down, and her eyes lit up, taking in grass, sky, and space in a way she hadn't in years. I didn't know who she would bond with, or if she would bond with anyone at all after so long alone. That is when Peggy entered the story. Peggy had come to us from the Humane Society, rescued from a small, tight stall where she had spent her days without another animal beside her. She too had been missing something simple, not food, not shelter, just closeness. When I placed the two mares in stalls next to one another, something quiet passed between them. They reached toward each other slowly, nose to nose, through the wooden slats. It was a small motion, a soft exhale, a held breath released. I like to think Peggy was saying, in the only language she had, that this place was safe now. From that day forward, the two mares were rarely apart. When I let them out together, Peggy would run, circling the field with the ease of a younger horse, while she, no longer able to match her pace, stood and watched her closest friend move. It was never sad to see. It was simply theirs. They leaned into every part of life side by side, standing together through veterinary visits, walking the same pastures, touching muzzles whenever they passed near each other's stalls. She developed a habit of splashing her hoof through mud puddles, again and again, until we began calling her the Mud Pony, a small, ordinary joy that became one more piece of who she was. We gave her a 30th birthday celebration, marking a milestone that once seemed impossible for a horse left behind in an empty barn. But we only had her for about a year. When she passed, I laid her to rest in our sanctuary's memorial garden, beneath the open sky she had been missing for so long before her rescue. I knew I had to walk Peggy out to see her friend one final time. As we approached, Peggy grew distressed, calling out in sounds I had never heard from her before. She reared, backed away, and would not go closer. She understood, in whatever way a horse understands loss, that her friend was gone. In the weeks that followed, Peggy returned again and again to the stall that once held her friend, standing at the closed door, refusing to leave the place, still holding her scent. She would linger there quietly, as if waiting for her to walk out one more time. 17 years of isolation had given way to one meaningful year of companionship, and even grief could not erase what that friendship had meant to both of them. Sometimes healing does not mean forgetting fear. It means finally being seen, touched, and chosen, even if only for a while. Today, Peggy carries the memory of that bond forward, and her story remains part of the quiet, peaceful history of our sanctuary. If her friendship touched your heart, consider leaving a small wish or a heart so she is remembered as she deserves, gentle, loved, and never alone again.